Hope everybody is seeing the presentation, can see the presentation. So as I said before, we are going to see today the part 4 of the drug stability, and for this I didn't prepare any audio visual presentation because my intention is only you can better understand when I'm teaching this here itself. Hello. So what you are exactly discussing in the part 4, right? There is many ways this question can be asked, and I want to say right now, and if somebody want to ask some essay questions from the drug stability, 90% of the time only this question was asked. That is nothing but accelerated stability testing. I'm saying 90% of the time the essay question comes from drug stability is only accelerated stability testing. So also called as chemical stability testing of dosage forms. Also they can call as shelf life of a pharmaceutical dosage or drug product, how we can able to determine. Also they can ask how the expiry dates. So why there is a single answer for all these questions? If you could see, the common principle in all the questions is you are going to find out the time how much it takes for a drug to degrade 10% or the time it takes for the drug to retain 90%. Let us say shelf life. The meaning is the number of months the drug able to maintain 90%. Expiry date, exactly the day at which it is going to expire. That means 10% is going to be degraded, 90% is going to be retained. This is months, this is exactly date. Similarly, chemical stability testing of drugs. Why it is degrading 10% means it is undergoing some kind of chemical degradation. That is nothing but chemical stability. How much time it is having the stability to maintain at least 90% of its original strength. And now what is the meaning of accelerated stability testing is, as I'm mentioning yesterday to you, there are two ways you can conduct the stability testing as per the ICH guidelines. One is mandatory, is 12 months you can able to do it, and another one is 6 months. That is called accelerated stability testing. As I mentioned yesterday, why accelerated stability testing is required is a company don't want to waste 1 year of time after the product has been developed to wait whether it is it is stable or not for a period of 12 months. So they want to market immediately. So for that they can go for 6 months with accelerated conditions. Sometimes they don't want to even spend for 6 months. They want to predict within 1 month what will be going to happen, how much time it can retain 90%. For suppose I want to do an experiment which I want to complete in a single month, but I want to predict for a drug product. Let us say here some amphotericin is here, which is an antibiotic, right? Usually maybe let us say this shelf life is 2 years, but 2 years time I don't want to waste my time. Within a 1 month, how I can predict that how many years it can able to maintain 90%. It may be 2 years, it may be 2 years, 2 months, 3 months, or whatever. So within 1 month of experimentation, is there any way I can predict in future how many years it can maintain its shelf life? It may be 2 years, 2 or x number of years. That is called as accelerated stability testing. You are accelerating the chemical reaction by using temperature. That's why here, whenever temperature you are saying, the arginine is concept will come every 10 degrees rise in temperature, there is a degradation. So that's why these are all related with each other. Whatever the question they're asking from this, the answer is common, which we are going to see now. Right. So please understand this PPT, we are going to see within a month how we are accelerating the chemical reaction so that we can predict at room temperature, let us say 25 degrees centigrade. Usually the average temperature is 25, if you could see. So at room temperature, how many months or how many years the drug can maintain its shelf life? Once again, nothing but 90% of its original content. So let us see the protocol, how to do it. So before that, there is a small introduction. So what this is in general, the stability of pharmaceutical preparation should be evaluated by exposing the product to a normal shelf life conditions. What are the normal shelf life conditions? These are the normal shelf life conditions, that is ranging from 21 degrees to 30 degrees centigrade for a period of at least 1 year. Okay. But what is the problem in doing this kind of procedures? The rate of decomposition is very slow at normal room temperature. Such a method is time consuming and uneconomical. See, I'm using the term here, uneconomical. The company cannot waste 1 year of time. Ideally, they have to sit aside to see how much time it is taking. It is unnecessarily waste of time. Now, what we can do to see within 1 month, shall we able to predict how many years it can able to retain its shelf life? That is called accelerated conditions. Therefore, in practice, methods are devised, that means developed, to accelerate the rate of degradation in such a way that by keeping the temperature in highest temperatures. So we all know among the various degradation methods which you discussed in part 3 or part 2, temperature is a main concern because, as I said, others can be prevented like hydrolytic reactions, oxidative reactions, but temperature cannot be predicted. And also among the various degradation methods or degradation factors, temperature is the main influential factor which is causing the degradation of the temperature products. So as per this only, ICH guidelines has been devised based on the temperature mainly. So one can able to increase the temperature more and more. I'm using the term more and more beyond the prescribed temperature, so that the degradation also very fast. From that graph, we can able to predict what will happen at room temperatures. That is the accelerated stability conditions or states. Now, what is the objective? So the objective of the accelerated stability testing is to predict the shelf life of a product. To predict the shelf life, that is nothing but expiry date of the product, which will usually we are thinking at normal temperature, but by accelerating the rate of decomposition, preferably by only increasing the temperature, but not any other things, because temperature is the main influential factor which increases the rate of decomposition. So we want to predict shelf life. It may be 2 years or 3 years, but we don't want to wait for that much time. Within a month, instead of waiting for that many months, you can able to increase the temperature. You can see the degradation rate. From that, you can extrapolate the graph at room temperature, how much time it will take to decompose. Let us see the protocol. So how we have to do it? So what we have to do is take the drug product. Let us say tablet is there, a capsule is there, a solution is there. What you have to do is you have to subject from different temperature conditions like 40, 50, 60, 70. You can see the minimum is 40, but as per ICH guidelines, the highest is itself 40. So if you want to do accelerated conditions, you have to start from 40, at least 4 different temperatures you have to use. It may be ranging from 40 to 120 degrees centigrade. So now what first you see the first step one, what we have to do exactly. Now take the product, subject to this temperature conditions like 40, 50, 60, 70, and also parallelly you have to do at normal room temperature also for cross verification. Please understand, apart from this, you should also do at normal room conditions, that is 25 degrees or 30 degrees centigrade. That's what they are given here. It may be 30 degrees or 25 degrees centigrade, which is room temperature. So now plot a graph which is time versus the degradation. Let us keep aside all these unnecessary things. This is nothing but, in the left side is the concentration and the downside is the time. So as the time passes, you can see the concentration of drug is decreasing. Am I right? So this varies from first order, zero order, second order. As per the formulas we have to calculate. For the zero order, it is directly concentration. For the first order, log C naught by Ct. For the second order, log X by AT. So let us keep aside these things. You please understand only one thing, that the graph has to be plotted for the drug product which has stored at different temperature conditions, the time versus the concentration. You can see the graph is declining, indicating that the drug is decomposing. This is at the room temperature. Now, similarly, as I said, this is an accelerated stability studies. You have to do this kind of things for the acceleration conditions also. That is, let us say, you have 4 stability chambers. You have 4 stability chambers, right? So one you are maintaining at 40 degrees centigrade as per this. Another one you are maintaining at 50 degrees centigrade. Another one you are maintaining at 60 degrees centigrade. Another one you are maintaining at 70 degrees centigrade. Apart from this, you are also maintaining one more stability chamber, which is at 25 degrees centigrade. Now what you are doing, you are placing equally in all the chamber one tablet of a paracetamol tablet, one tablet in all these chambers. Now you are seeing how much it is degrading, decomposing, because when the temperature is there, definitely, as I said before, as per Arrhenius equation, that is going to be decomposed. But as the temperature is more, there is more decomposition. The temperature is less, there is less decomposition. That's why you can see at 70 degrees centigrade, if you see at 80 minutes, the decomposition is very drastic. Am I right? The rate of decomposition is very drastic because the temperature is more, the decomposition is more, followed by 60 degrees, followed by 40 degrees, or whatever it is. So the rate of decomposition is drastically increasing as the temperature is increases, the time versus the concentration. Now for this, what you do is you calculate the K. What is the K formula? Is the slope, that is the curvature between the any 2 points of a graph into 2.303. So you have to calculate K value. Then we will see the next step. Please recall back, the step 1 is nothing but at room temperature only I saw you. In the steps 2, the same product we have subjected to different temperature conditions, and we have plotted the graphs. For the plot, we have calculated the K values. Now, what is the next step? That is step 3. So before going to the step 3, you should understand one term called Kelvin temperatures. We have see, if you could see in India, the normal ways to express the temperature is Celsius, or that is degree centigrade, right? Degree centigrade nothing but C stands for Celsius. But there are also other famous ways to express the temperature is called Kelvin temperature and also the Fahrenheit temperature. So if you see the Celsius temperature, if you are saying 0 degrees, it is nothing but in Fahrenheit it is equal to 32 degrees. In case of Kelvin, it is equal to 283 degrees, sorry, 273 degrees centigrades. 273 degrees centigrades. So how it is there? So before proceeding for the step 3, we should convert the temperature which you are having into the absolute temperature. So what is absolute temperature? Nothing but Kelvin temperature. So how to do it? The formula is percent, that is degree centigrade. If you want to convert to Kelvin temperature, degree centigrade is equal to Kelvin minus 273. Why minus 273? Here it is at 0 degree centigrade. The Kelvin temperature is 273. That is called as minus 273. At 0 degree centigrade, Kelvin temperature is at 273. So if you want somebody ask about 0 degree centigrade, what is the Kelvin temperature? Is nothing but it is minus 273. Now, for suppose if I want to convert centigrade to Kelvin, let us take an example. I want to convert 25 degrees centigrade into Kelvin temperature. Let us say around somewhere here, 25 degrees centigrade. So what is the Kelvin temperature? You can say. So 25 degrees, as per this formula, degree centigrade, put it here. 25 is equal to K minus 273 is the standard formula. But what we want K. K, bring it to left side. So 273 plus, that means you can bring this to here. 273 plus K, you leave it this side. 273 plus 25 degrees centigrade, nothing but 298 degrees centigrade. That means Kelvin degrees 290 degrees is equal to 25 degrees of Celsius. 25 degrees of Celsius degree centigrade temperature. Fine. Now this exercise we are doing for the proceeding for the next step, because in the next step you can see instead of time they given absolute temperature 1 by T, that is reciprocal of absolute temperature versus log K. What is the meaning of this log K? You have already calculated the K values here for 40 degrees, K value for 50 degrees, K value for 60 degrees, and so on. So instead of decomposition, now convert y-axis into log K for the respective temperature. On the x-axis, you are putting, instead of time, 1 by reciprocal of temperature. Sorry, reciprocal of absolute temperature. That is nothing but this. 1 by reciprocal of absolute temperature. K is equal to 293. So you can see now graph. So 1 by reciprocal of absolute temperature into 10 to the power 3. If you want to convert 25 degrees into 1 by reciprocal of absolute temperature, 1 by 298 into 10 to the power of 3, nothing but 3.35 degrees centigrade. That's why I could say 25 degrees centigrade is equal to 3.35 degrees centigrade as per this. Whatever the value you got it here, 3.35. You can say 3.35 of 1 power 1 by reciprocal of absolute temperature is nothing but 25 degrees centigrade, right? So now step 3, what we are going to do in step 3? See, please understand, we have did from step 2 to step 3, instead of decomposition, we have taken the log K values in the y-axis. So instead of time, we have taken the absolute reciprocal of absolute temperature on the x-axis. Now you can see once again the graph is declining from 70 degrees, 60 degrees, 40 degrees, and so on, so up to here, right? Now let us say I have a graph of a straight line which says about 70 degrees, which says about 60 degrees, which says about 50 degrees, and so on, so. And if I want, let us say at room temperature, I know at 70 degrees, let us say 2 mg is degrading. Now I want to predict if I am using room temperature, if I am using a room temperature that is 25 degrees centigrade, how much degradation happening. Now what you can do is you can extrapolate a line at room temperature and you can able to predict the unknown values. That is nothing but around 0.8 mg is degrading. So higher the temperature, more the degradation. Lower the temperature, less the degradation. That is what the usefulness of this. You are accelerating the conditions, whereas you can able to predict what was happening at the room temperature. But now that is not the ultimate aim. Our aim is how much time the drug can able to maintain the shelf life of a drug, how many years. So for that, what you have to do is you have to put this K value, whatever you're getting for the respective K 25 degrees centigrade, K at 30 degrees centigrade, or whatever, into the formulas of zero order, first order, and second order at normal life conditions. So for suppose if a reaction is following zero order, if a degradation is following the following the first order reaction, if a degradation condition is following the second order reaction, to predict the half-life, sorry, the shelf-life of a drug, how many years it can able to retain 90%, that is number T90. So how many years it can able to retain? If you want to know the time in months, you have to substitute your K value. See, this is the K value for 70 degrees. This is the K value for log K value for 60 degrees, 50 degrees, and so on. So at normal conditions, please understand this formula is here for the normal shelf life conditions. What is the normal shelf life condition? This is the normal shelf life conditions. This is the normal shelf life condition. This is the normal shelf life condition. Right. So take this value which you got here and substitute in the K0. 0 indicates zero order, K1 indicates first order, K2 indicates the second order reaction. If you substitute the values, you will get how many months that it can able to maintain the shelf life of the product. How many months? T90 will get a number of months. It may be 30 months, 40 months, 60 months. You will get the things. So why you are doing all these steps, one step starting from 1 to 4 is in order to find out the K value. Only main thing is if you know the K value at room temperature, you can able to predict the shelf life using the formula T90, how many months it is going to be there. See, try to understand. Now I did only for a month, maybe even for a half an hour or 1 hour. You can see the time here. It is nothing but maximum 1 hour, right? But using 1 hour data, I can able to predict at room temperature, how many months a drug can able to retain its 90% T90. That is the main advantage. Usually, if I want to get T90 value, I should wait for the time until it is degrading 10%. That degradation of 10%, it may take years together. Sometimes maybe 10 years, who knows? But I cannot wait for that much time. So that's why I have accelerated the temperature starting from 40, 50 to 70 degrees centigrade. Then I have extrapolated the temperature to the room temperature. This K value at room temperature I have taken to the respective orders and I have calculated T90 of the respective order of reactions. So there are some limitations for this accelerated stability testing. If you could see, accelerated stability studies are valid only when the breakdown, that is nothing but when the degradation of the product is dependent on the temperature. But is it not necessary that every product is degrading because of temperature? Because if you could see, this, the part 3 and 2 of this drug stability chapter, we have seen various other mechanisms like the light, the hydrolytic decompositions or whatever, the drug may be degraded. In that case, this principle cannot be applied. We cannot take these accelerated conditions to predict the shelf life of the drug, especially the suspensions which are in direct contact with the water. Maybe there is more chance of hydrolytic reaction than the temperature reactions. So that time it is not valid. Similarly, the results obtained for one set of conditions for a preparation cannot be applied to other products. So let us say this stability testing I have did in a paracetamol tablet. This stability testing I have did for a paracetamol tablet, but I cannot do it for a capsule, or I cannot do it for ointment or some other things. I cannot correlate with this any two. This is only purely applicable to the drug because here the excipients are different. Here it is a solid, and these conditions are different than these conditions. So one set of conditions cannot exactly match with other set. We have to do with other set of products also if we want to determine the shelf life. Even though this is a paracetamol in the liquid form, there is a paracetamol tablet is there. Since the paracetamol it is in the a suspension, a paracetamol in a packet in the capsule, I cannot correlate this data, and I cannot say since paracetamol tablet took 2 years for the shelf life, I cannot say paracetamol capsule also can take 2 years exactly to degrade. That is the main problem. That's if you see why the suspension is having very less half life, because hydrolytic reactions are more. So this is also one of the drawback. Come to the next, stability predictions at elevated temperatures are of little use when the degradation due to some other reactions. Just now mentioning, like some products will go for microbial contamination, that time the degradation is more. Some products will go for photochemical light like riboflavin, yesterday when we are discussing these kind of things, we cannot correlate with the temperature conditions. So the last demerit is stability studies are meaningless when the product loses its physical integrity at high temperatures. Example, denaturation of proteins. Let us say proteins, you cannot go for accelerated stability conditions. All, if you are aware or not, these proteins, peptides, and amino acids are highly thermal sensitive. If you want, you can take this small protein You put in the sunlight, you can see immediately the degradation. All the proteins, the maximum temperature is 60 to 70 degrees centigrade. That's it. You cannot boil like a water for 100 degrees centigrade, and you cannot expect the protein will retain its temperature. That's why in one of the Arrhenius concept, the limitation we have seen, proteins, pH alteration, temperature change. A small change in temperature will cause denaturation of proteins, unfolding of proteins. So for the substances like proteins which are very sensitive to temperature, thermolayable, these kind of products you cannot go for accelerated stability conditions. These are the main limitations for the accelerated stability conditions. Hope we understand something from this presentation. Thank you everyone for your patience listening, and this is another presentation.